members of the House, JB has been very clear in saying that if we are a movement that is trying to oppose a system that is disenfranchising certain groups of minority, we should not do it in a way that gives more power and legitimacy to that same institution, or else that institution will get a credit for all the movement that we have been doing, and as a result that system will never be able to change. What we may be able to do is to create compromise, but never to be able to make people understand that the system might be flawed and require constant scrutiny. That will be talked about later in my materials. But before I proceed to that material, allow me to first directly question the case coming from opening government. Because opening government simply argues that when you are inside the system, most probably you will be able to make lobbying towards other members, for example, in the parliament. They are completely dismissive towards the process of political system right now. Because first they must tell us why they as a party can win the election to get seats in the parliament. We don't think they are able to directly win the seats in the parliament simply because of the sheer number of majority supporting establishment. That is why even when Bernie Sanders tried to enter the political system, he is unable to win a lot of votes in a lot of states. One, because he is clearly outnumbered, but two, is also because the political establishment system that allows the existence of super delegates, for example, in this government, that shows you that winning election is not even possible, or most likely impossible, on the side of the House. But even if you're talking about parliament, and you might be able to enter, like as a social progressive movement, a concession that they must make in this debate is that these people are still the minority in that parliament, because if they're the majority, then they're not social progressive movement, they're establishment movement. But in the parliament itself, you have to undergo a lot of political process in order for your voices to be heard. In the agenda setting process, you have to vote so that your concern can be talked about, and that requires your first vote. Number two, when you're about to vote for the actual policy, you require quorum, and a lot of members of Democrat and Republican can simply choose not to attend the meeting so that the motion will be delayed over and over again. These are the loopholes in the democratic system, in the parliamentary establishment system that is always being utilized by the majority in order to maintain their power. And you know, there are also cases about filibuster, there are also cases about compromise. So all of the cases relies on the total compromise of your value at the expense of how the majority wants to envision it and wants for it to be debated in the parliament. So it's not going to be our value, it's our value as defined by the majority, by this political system. We don't like it under the side of the House. Comparatively, when you create Occupy movement, there are media portrayal, there are outrage amongst people. This forces people to discuss about it because now people are getting widespread support. That's why, for example, you can utilize the fact that if a lot of people are creating petition, for example, in the forms of occupation, in the forms of protest, people are talking about it, government members are addressing it, and it can be talked as well. So we argue that influence exists in our case, but we don't have to undergo all of the loopholes that you're currently talking right now. There are three things in my material right now that I'm going to talk about. Number one, let's address with the case coming from opening government. I'm going to talk about people's sense of ownership towards that movement. Opening government simply argue to us that the current awareness is enough. We argue to you that the awareness is not enough because people already only understand the awareness, the issue in on the surface. And they label it, the problem is they label it as something that can only be changed by the government. We think that it is not representative towards how the movement is actually supposed to be talking about. Discrimination against black community don't only happen amongst police officers. It also happens among people when they don't want to sit next to black people in subways, for example, in this government. That is not the kind of issue that you can address inside a parliament system, because the parliament could not regulate who you want to sit with in a subway system, and at the same time they cannot talk about that directly because it is not within their capability to do so in this government. That is why we argue to you that when you create an outrage, when you show to people that there is a problem in society, and it is not only the policy made by the government, but also the general public that is discriminated as a whole, that is more effective to address the problem in general, ladies and gentlemen. Then they argue to you there are closeted minority who are afraid to participate. Look, this is a very wrong assumption, right? Because the time when most homosexuals do not speak up and becomes closeted is at that time when all the movement is centralized in the government. By the moment pride parades happen, by the moment a lot of people on the ground speaks up, a lot of people are now coming out and speaking on that issue. So we argue to you that the only way for you to be able to people who want to participate in a movement, if you understand that the movement do not happen in that system, but it happen outside your house, on the roads, where it's accessible to you. And as a result, the movement becomes more accessible to you, and you have an attachment towards that movement, and as a result, you have a constant support for that movement, because the movement is now not sponsored by the government, but sponsored by you as an individual who have an interest in the changes. Second thing we argue to you, addressing the case of closing government. Closing government simply argue that we don't want to be labeled as angry people. These are contradictions coming from the side of the house, right? Whether or not these people are aware of the issue or not. Because if they are aware, then they will not be simply seen as an angry people, they will be seen as people with political motives. But exactly the reason why people see them as angry is exactly because they do not understand the fullest gravity of the issue. And that has always been how we gain support right now. We started out as a culture of outrage. Black Lives Matter did not start as a, journals. It started out as people screaming at police officers for their good police brutality. But as it creates more momentum, to create more discussions, to create more academic debates, and to create politicians to speak up. We understand that it's important for us to get our message across. But in order for people to be ready to accept our message, we must first gain traction, because people must understand that the problem is not only about that it exists, but that it's important for everyone as a whole. It can only be seen as important to you if it happens in your eyes and not inside the government behind closed doors. Lastly, their system, ladies and gentlemen, would only perpetuate a savior narrative. This is Gary's argument, right? Because this will only create more legitimacy to the system, as if that system is the one that caters to everyone. But the problem is not simply that the parliament is discriminated, the parliament don't recognize the police brutality. The problem is bigger than that. The problem is that the political system, the establishment system, only benefit a certain minority, a certain elite. As a result, we have to always make people question that elites in order to make sure that they are not going to have more power over every movement that we're going to make. This is not a legitimate we want to give towards this movement. At the close of the opening debate, we have told you 5 things, ladies and gentlemen. We have told you that this creates distinction towards us and that system. Number 2, we are not giving legitimacy to that system, making a savior narrative for that party. Number 3, we have to empower our constituents who expect us to fight outside the system. Number 4, we have to start as a culture of outrage to create traction. And number 5, we have to make people believe that the movement belongs to them and not to the government. We're very proud of those things.